I was browsing the usual aviation websites, and this popped up, a White Lightning. From this perspective, the airplane looks a bit like an RC plane, so it's hard to grasp the dimensions of it. Normally, I wouldn't know anything about this, and I would probably just skip along. But it just so happens that 6 months ago, I heard of one locally owned, and I got curious and did some research on it. The specs sound amazing. In particular, the cruise speed of up to 215 knots with an IO 360, probably burning 10 to 11 gallons per hour. But I've never seen one up close until now. I got in touch with the owner of the local White Lightning through my AMP Jason, and the next thing you know is I'm driving for just under an hour to get to Berlin Regional Airport where the plane is located. And there's a few things to see along the way.
And
There he is, I got him.
I always tell Stan, I said, Stan, you're smoking when you come in. I'm sure he's not looking this way.
I hope not. Let's meet the man behind the controls, and who was generous enough to show us his airplane today.
Well, hello there. Let me show you my airplane. It's called a White Lightning.
And so, Stan, what is your background?
Oh, I'm an ex-Air Force officer, pilot, fighter pilot, test pilot. Flew 105s, 104s, F-111s, A-7s, T-38s, a couple of other airplanes I can't tell you about. So that's my background.
So if someone like Stan has picked the White Lightning, then you know that
a great machine.
it's a great machine. It's a high-performance airplane.
Actually, an incredible airplane designed to go very fast, very efficiently, 4-place, retractable gear, high-speed or constant speed prop.
And so here we can get in from both sides. As you can see, there's 2 canopies, which is kind of nice. For the rear, there's only one on the left.
Correct. It's got a single side stick control. The control forces are incredibly light, very well balanced. Push rod and whatever. Pretty conventional avionics in the airplane now, obviously. But
Right. And that's one of the interesting features is you just have a single stick in the center, which I like
yeah,
that.
yeah, it's very nice. And like I said, it's just so it's instinctive.
Reminds me of Velocity.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Cool.
The rear passengers face to the rear, so all the mass is pretty much right over the quarter of the wing or centerline, so there's virtually no CG shift at all with fuel, with passengers, with baggage. It's almost impossible to get out of CG range. You could overload it, I guess, but the airplane weighs about 1650 and max is 24, so there's quite a bit of weight allowance in the airplane.
If you look at the back here, it just looks so comfortable and relaxed. And it's a unique sitting situation where you're headed back.
Well, I think that's probably the only way they could get rear seat passengers in the airplane.
Right.
You know, and again, the advantage is everybody's sitting right over the wing, so there's very little CG movement with
Right.
passengers, no passengers, fuel, no fuel. You know, it's just quite amazing.
So all the weight is right over the CG, which is a great design. Look at the amount of room back there.
Yeah, it's quite generous. Let me show you the forward flaps. I say they're very efficient in that they reduce stall speed by almost 20 knots. So normal stall speed is right at 80, actually 78. And with the flaps down, stall speed drops to 59 or 60. So kind of 60 to 80 are the round numbers for the airplane. Actually, the hard thing is slowing it down when you're trying to land. It's not going fast, it's slowing it down. Like I said, it cruises at about 190, 200 knots easily, at a little under 10 gallons an hour. No adverse effects at all. Very little stall warning, I'll say. It just stops flying. Laminar wing.
So how does that stall manifest itself? Does the one wing drop? Or?
No, it's symmetrical, so in that respect, it's good.
Right.
But there's no buffet, there's no warning, there's no here it comes. It's just I quit flying.
Okay.
And
And the recovery, just
Simple.
simple, straightforward.
Yeah, simple, straightforward recovery. No nasty stall characteristics.
The landing gear
Quite unique.
angled forward.
It does, and it folds back very compactly, with the wheels actually resting under the rear passenger's knees. Everything, again, is very tight. You know, there's almost no extra space anywhere in the airplane. Again, for speed. Absolutely made to go fast.
With a narrow cord.
Yeah, again, efficient.
Yeah.
Very efficient. Laminar flow, like I said.
But this tail.
Well, I had the thing on jack, so now the landing gear is a little higher than it normally is, the main gear.
Oh, the main gear is a little bit higher, but normally the tail would hang lower?
Yes,
Here?
yes.
Okay.
And the gear would drop another several inches, and so the tail would be lower. So it's that's in a normal position for the tail right now.
Okay, because what I was remarking was more sort of the size of the tail.
Small?
Small, yeah, it seems that way. What's your experience flying it?
Well, the moment arm from the CG back to the tail is long. And again, that was a conscious design decision to keep the size of the tail small for reduced drag. I've landed in over 20 knots of crosswind and never ran out of rudder. So the tail is more than sufficient for directional control.
They achieve that by the arm being
Exactly,
so long.
by the long arm. If you look at it, it looks a little long.
It does. It does
compared
indeed.
to more conventional airplanes. And
If you saw the Quest Air Venture, you'd see how small an arm it has. And so-
it makes a difference.
yeah,
Makes a
exactly.
difference.
So how many of these did they make?
Not very many, you know, and I doubt if there are 5 of them flying. There may be, but that would be my guess, something like that. Not very many flying.
But it's experimental, so maintenance is not that much of an issue because you can adapt it.
Well, in all honesty, I wish I were an AMP instead of a pilot.
I'm going to get in the airplane. I don't want to put my...
No, there you go.
Yeah, so I'm just going to be respectful as much as possible. Foot on the seat. Second foot on the seat. Oh, here we go. A little bit easier this time. Here we can see the leg room, and it would be a tight fit. Let's close the canopy just to show that. Then there's the limit. I can't get the canopy down any lower than that, unfortunately. So yeah, it's a no. I was interested in buying one of these, but I'm gonna have to say no now.
I'm 5'9", and I'm fine. Matter of fact, I put a little cushion there. But so 5'9", 5'10" is probably where I would say that's probably going to work for you unless you've got an abnormally long body.
Right.
But you start getting up and you're 6 foot, and I think you're going to be in trouble.
Well, Stan, thank you for letting us see this airplane.
You're most welcome.
If you have any questions, put them in the comments.
Needless to say, I'm obviously not going to buy this airplane, even though I think it's an awesome price for a plane with such high performance, but it's just not the right one for me.